Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to y'all about the last 9 years of IE Sports Radio. For the last 9 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports teams around the country. All the while, we've been continuing to be out of fans for the fans, and with your help, we're ready to take the next step. When we go to our website, isportsradio.com, you see 5 different Patreon links. Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one, they're starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout outs all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct for all of sports. I want to shout out to our 4 Patreon members: Bay Area Rays, Marcus, Los, Great, Keith the Gate, and Anonymous. Thank you all for making 9 years special at IE Sports Radio. And here's many more years to come. Now on to the show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Afternoon, wherever you listen to this. Got a lot on our plate tonight on tonight's show with the breaking news of Bradley Beal going to the Phoenix Suns. We'll break down how does work out in the Suns' favor. Are they title contenders with KD and Kevin Booker in the fold and DeAndre Ayton, if he's still there, by next week or so? We'll discuss how, can they compete with Denver in the West. On the other side of things, Washington looking like they're starting their rebuild. What steps do they need to get to that point? Chris Paul Landry's got a player option. Got a lot of young players. Do they move Chris Paul's draft night? Plus, the NBA Finals just concluded. Denver winning 4-1 against the Miami Heat. What can every team do to get better to get back into the position next summer? We hear the rumors of Dame Lillard in the Heat. What can Denver do to get better to stay at the top of the West? We'll discuss that and much more here live on IE Sports Radio. You're the week for all sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to talk about, lots to get into here tonight. It's real heavy. We got the draft. The draft coming this Thursday. So that's just right around the corner this Thursday. So we got that coming up. The NBA Finals just concluded. And then we got this big trade that's happened. And then I think more trades going to be happening around the horizon this week at the earliest. And then you got NBA free agency after that. After the draft. So a lot of things is coming at once. Like, not like the NFL, you breathe after a little bit after the Super Bowl, but the NBA, you kind of like, bam, season ends, bam, draft, bam, free agency, bam, summer league. And after that, everything's kind of quiet for a little bit until football kicks around. And then you got training camp then and right there. So, D-Lock, having said all that, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Everything's good, man. A crazy day. First off, happy Father's Day to you and other fathers around the world. Keep, inspiring, your kids, doing a hell of a job with that. But with that being said, this is a great day to kick off Father's Day, is seeing one of the better players get moved to continue to make our show, one of the best shows out there.
I appreciate that, sir. Me and the little one, Sophia, we just chilled out for most of the day. So we did that. I cooked her breakfast and lunch today, so we did that. We watched a couple of her shows. She fell asleep for a little bit. I fell asleep right behind her. So we just chilled out today for the most part. So nothing big. Oh, shout out to the chat. Shout out to Larry B. Shout out to Taryn Rodriguez. I appreciate that, Taryn. About the Father's Day shout out. I appreciate that, sir. Man. I figured we are going to come up here, D-Lock, and talk about the NBA Finals and stuff like that. The conclusion, all that good stuff. But some other news was kind of just been brewing here for the past couple of days, and it got done. Well, it'll be more set done, come later in this month, set in stone. But Bradley Beal, who reports were coming out that, the Wizards, since they got the new people in the front office, they were looking to rebuild. And I think, we discussed in the show that, it's been a kind of long time coming that they should. Well, they got the first stop to the process, getting that down the road, getting that process going. Trading Bradley Beal, the longtime Wizard. In the trade, they got Landry Shamet, Chris Paul, some draft picks, and that's really about it for the Wizards. No first round picks, because Phoenix did all those to Brooklyn for the Kevin Durant trade. So, D-Lock, I know Miami was in the running as well. Seemed like they didn't want to give up Tyler Hero. I think they could have got that trade done without Tyler Hero. What are your thoughts on this trade and what it means for the Suns?
Well, the biggest thing is, I think you messaged me, I think it was yesterday or a couple of days ago, about thinking that this trade was going to be pushed through by Monday. Well, hell, it looks like they got it done a day earlier. This is a big move for the Suns. This is a piece that they are going to definitely help them with the two in Devin Booker and Kevin Durant that they have. But now the biggest question is, what is their bench going to look like? With the pieces of Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant, you're going to have a lot of, free agents, and others that wouldn't mind going there. And, to add on to what they have. I mean, you have a team like this, more than likely you're probably going to have a lot of veterans to join the squad. But this is a big pickup. So I think this is going to make Phoenix a big competitor next year with the Denver Nuggets. By the way, we'll talk about them. Congrats to Denver Nuggets for closing out the series with the NBA Finals, getting their first NBA Final championship. And Jokic playing a hell of a series, hell of a playoffs. So I think that they're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a team that's going to be tough to deal with. So I think that, Phoenix needed to make a move, knowing that they were going to move or release or waive Chris Paul. But for me, I mean, how many teams do Kevin Durant needs to have? How many super teams do Kevin Durant need to have? I mean, he started out with Russ, James Harden in their early careers. Move on to Golden State, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry after coming off a 7-3-9 season with Draymond Green. And you go to a Kyrie, James Harden field roster in Brooklyn. And you go to Phoenix with a Chris Paul, Devin Booker team that just came from the NBA Finals. So for me, I mean, well, hell, like how many? Like I said to you, dude, like this dude has like he has more super teams than DC Comics and Marvels combined. I mean, he has so many. So at this point, he has to get to the NBA Finals. And I think that somebody has to be a leader on this team. Losing to Chris Paul is definitely a leader, regardless of injury-wise, injury prone. He's a big player that plays a huge part on the leading side. Does Devin Booker take over that? That's a big question mark. Not sure Bradley Beal is that leader. And I think Kevin Durant is going to have to be the guy, unless they, move other pieces around. He's going to have to lead at some point. So, for me, still in question what they do with DeAndre Ayton. But, damn. I mean, how many big three teams are we going to continue seeing? Can this team actually get it done? And I think that this is not the only move we'll see. We'll see more pieces move throughout the offseason. I think in the next couple of days we'll continue to see that. But to be honest, between the Heat and Phoenix, Phoenix was the team that had the pieces that could, make this trade happen. Also, that interesting piece they had between the CEO and the agent. So, for me, like I said, this is a good pickup for Phoenix. They need to get it done now. Now that you have these three guys, if DeAndre Ayton stays, have a big there. If not, you'll get somebody. Get it done now. I mean, at this point, you got scores, not really that many defenders, but kind of get this shit together and see what happens. But to be honest, that just means the West just got a hell of a lot tougher.
I think I look at it like this. It's like, for the Phoenix side of things, I think you get a decade younger at the guard position. Bradley Beal is 29, Chris Paul like 38. So you get 10 years younger in that backcourt. So I think that's the main positive thing right there. You mentioned about the agent, Brad Beal's agent. I had it. It's here. Let's see. His agent, Mark Bartlett-Stein. He's the father of current Sun CEO Josh Bartlett-Stein. So you kind of wonder, is something fishy going on right there? Because, you gave up Chris Paul. But you talking about the older Chris Paul, no first round pick, stuff like that. You kind of got to side eye that, you know what I'm saying? And everybody bring up the Laker CP3 trade. They gave up the BS reasons and stuff like that. They rescinded that trade. And they want these teams to be better, and they want these teams to be better, and what they get back in return, all that stuff. I know Washington's going through a rebuild mode, but y'all don't get no first round pick out of Bradley Beal for that. So it just kind of make you side eye that, that connection right there. But the basketball side of things, if DeAndre Ayton stays, you got a nice 4 unit right there. And you probably still need to find a point guard. Unless you're going to have Bill running the point or Booker running the point. I mean, I'm not saying they can, but that's asking a lot of them for 4 quarters in the game. Plus, you need a good setup man for DeAndre Ayton down low. So I think point guard is still in the question. The bench, that's the main concern for me. When I look at this, like, who's going to play on the bench with these guys? Who's going to be coming in? I know you mentioned about, like, guys taking the minimum and stuff like that, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if some of these guys will take the minimum like that to show up, in Phoenix. I mean, I look at the list right now of potential free agents. Draymond Green is going to opt out of his deal, his $27.6 million. He's going to opt out of that. Kyrie's a free agent. Chris Middleton, I think he'll opt in his player option. James Harden, I think he'll opt out of his. No, Chris Middleton's going to opt in. Porzingis, we'll talk about him a little bit more in a second, that he may be on the move. But you got Kevin Love. Will he take a minimum to come to Phoenix? You got Vooch. I think he'll command a little bit too much more money. Looking down the list, Derrick Rose, Malik Beasley. They got club options. I think the Lakers are going to decline Malik Beasley. I think the Knicks are going to decline Derrick Rose. So there's two guys right there that you can try to sign for the minimum. Will Barton, free agent. Christian Wood, I think he'll probably command a little money. But hey, you never know. Just going down the list, Josh Richardson, Dwight Powell, Kelly Oubre, Alec Burks. He got a club option, but I think Detroit liked him enough to bring him back. Jay Crowder. You got new management. You got a new coach. Do you want to go back to Phoenix? Yeah, and there's going down the list. Steph Curry, free agent. Mason Plumlee. Lonnie Walker. Joe Ingles. Rudy Gay got a player option. I think he'll probably take that. Kendrick Nunn. Hamidou Dalio. A good young guy, if you get on the cheap, can develop real well for you. Corey Joseph. You get my point. So, do a lot of those guys, take a cheap flyer for a year to play in Phoenix? Maybe, maybe not. But they just got to figure out the bench. And I think the main thing for me, D-Lock, they got to figure out that point guard spot. Because, in today's basketball, I think you can shift everybody down. If you get a point guard, you can shift Bradley Beal to the 2. You can shift down Devin Booker to the 3. KD can play the 4. And you still got Ayton there, he play the 5. But if they don't got a good point guard to kind of counteract Jamal Murray, or if Chris Paul does get traded to the Clippers, if Kyrie stays with Luka in Dallas, you got to worry about that. Ja Morant, we'll talk about him a little bit. Still got him in the fold in the West. So I just think it's curious how they're going to fill out their roster, in my eyes. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that it's going to be pretty tough to do that because you got so much money tied up into those guys. So that minimum is what's going to play a big part. Going to grab guys that are going to be willing to take that minimum. Now, do they, make any other moves? Not sure if they can, but it's a big chance. More than likely, they probably can't. So you're probably going to sit with free agency, and that's what you're going to have to rely on. So for me, I think that, going to get a couple of these guys to fit with this roster is going to be the biggest thing. Now, the thing about that is they did something very similar in Brooklyn. I was talking about the longest how this is one of the more talented rosters. All these pieces, they had these vets that basically were there just to win a ring and never panned out how they wanted. But that's the best situation that they're going to be in. And to your point, having that point guard to run the show is going to be a huge key for them. We got to see what's going to happen with a campaign, who's a free agent, I believe, right?
Let's see.
I believe he might be.
Let me looking down this list. Hold on one second.
because you lose somebody like that, that could be your leading guard. If so, still got to give him the minutes. Have him in rotation.
I don't see his name on there.
Okay, so he may be under contract for another year, but still you're gonna need somebody to come in to be that leader. Um, we've seen this happen multiple times with these guys. They go somewhere else, and now we see a hell of a roster, and it can't get done. So for me, I believe that DeAndre Ayton has a huge contract too, right?
I mean, it's he signed that that deal with Indiana and they matched it, but it's not like the worst. I mean, it's not a bad contract at all. I mean, if you look at it, so it's movable. Like
4 years under 32, yeah.
So I don't. I mean, here's the thing. With the changes and stuff like that, does he still want to be moved, or does he still don't want to be there? Because even
right.
the makeover from ownership on down, does he still want to be there? Okay,
right.
Monty Williams gone. All right, we got new owners here who kept me here even though I wanted out. Okay, now we got a new roster of guys. Got a
How
new
does he
coach.
feel? Yeah.
Maybe he sticks around. Maybe he still wants out. Maybe the situation that they put him in make it so toxic that to him that he still wants out.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, you have that piece. It's just gonna be very interesting to see how it plays out. But even with him, like you said, you're still gonna have to fill that roster out. I think that obviously having the Chris Paul, who was a very good leader, but beyond past his prime. So now, you got your Bradley Beal, who honestly I just didn't think he was going to be moved recently, but has been shipped out. And now you got a whole other big three. So now it's their job to get it done. And filling that roster out is going to be huge. If they can't do that, they may run into a Denver or a Lakers who are still not done yet. All these other teams, the West is already tough. We're hearing about Portland possibly moving Dame, which I just don't see it happening right now. But if so, you still have OKC who's going to be there. And all these teams, they're still going to be the teams to watch out for. But they're going to have to fill that roster out because, for me, honestly, I think the days of Kevin Durant playing at a high level on both ends of the court, I think that's probably over. So now you're going to need other pieces around him to help that, so he can put up his usual stat line on the offensive side. But you're still going to have to play defense. We've seen that in the Denver Nuggets. Jokic got whatever he wanted. Jamal Murray got whatever he wanted, but they still had guys that came in there and played, some defense that, Miami could not and other teams could not deal with. So that's going to be the biggest deal. And I think that if they can fill this roster out with key veterans and rotational guys that can play slight defense, I think they'd be fine. But again, there's a lot of money tied up into the guy that they already have.
Yeah, I think a lot of tied up and stuff like that. And, I want to shout out Mike Patton chat. We'll get to your KP to the Blazers here in a sec. Because I think that's the other move that may be bound to happen. But, like you mentioned, if they get a lot of guys bought in for another year or so, like for a year, and go about that way, I think that it can work. The TJ Warren thing never really panned out like they hoped, but, could you sucker him in for another 1-year deal? And say, hey, okay, things didn't go right this year. We'll bring you back. We'll see how it goes. Because he's not, T.J. Warren's not going to get a big deal anywhere else. Let's be real about that. So I think Phoenix probably going to tell him, like, hey, come back, take another 1 year minimal. All right. You know, you're not injured and like that. So come back. You could probably get a bigger role. And if you ball out, then you may cash in somewhere else next offseason. You know, Terrence Ross. I say bring him back. Just like a bench veteran. He can give you points. No defense, but he can give you points there. So you got two guys on the wing that, okay, you can bring back another year and ain't going to hurt much for just a vet minimum. I think just trying to figure out the other spots, like the backup big, you know, guard, the point guard position, stuff like that. You know, who could be backup two guard behind Beal and Booker. Let's see. I'm looking at free agents real quick. You got guys who they can possibly sign on the cheap. I'm looking. Reggie Jackson is a name to consider. Dennis Smith Jr. I felt like he played for them before. He's bounced around so much. Kendrick Nunn, like I mentioned. Corey Joseph, who I mentioned. Ish Smith. NBA champion Ish Smith, mind you. And Reggie Jackson. DJ Augustine. God. I know he played for the Rockets last year, looking at this list. Michael Carter Williams, I think, didn't he get hurt this year?
Yeah, he got hurt earlier, and that kind of hindered. He was at the Magic, so he got hurt at some point.
He has a club option for $3.1 million, I think, which I think Orlando will get rid of. Get rid of him there and save some money there. Looking around the list, Goran Dragic, you know, George Hill, he's 37. Aaron Holiday, it won't be bad for 1 year. Try it. Raul Neto, guard for Cleveland, could be a sneaky good pickup if they want to go that route. Frank Ntilikina, option there. It was only 25. God, dog, he's been in the league forever.
Definitely feels like it.
Hell yeah. You know, Gabe York played for the Pacers. McKinley Wright, guy to play for Dallas. So that's like straight point guard position. There's other names, but I don't think they'll sign for the vet minimum for the Suns. So to leave on, we'll put a bow on the Suns here. Like, I think they had to do something. They got rid of Chris Paul, who's aging and getting hurt and stuff like that. So you turn around, like I said, you get a decade younger at the guard position. So I think it's a good move for them. I think now you put yourself in a position, all right, you know, we took 6 games to Denver to put us out. You know, Chris Paul, he wasn't his best. Ayton was out. So I think Phoenix thinking, okay, if we at least had another guy there, even with Ayton out, I don't know, maybe we could have did something against Denver.
Yeah, that's what they believe, which I think they could have. Like I said, with the guys that they have. But the biggest thing that they would have run into, which every team run into not only during the playoffs, but hell, throughout the whole season, is Denver's bench. Bruce Brown comes in and brings a hell of a lot of energy, and I believe I remember you messaged me and said if I was Bruce Brown after that video, Mike Malone talked about he ain't going nowhere. I was Bruce Brown, go get paid, go get paid somewhere. But the energy that he brought, made a huge difference for that team. So again, you're looking at a team that is not just relying on a Jokic and Jamal Murray. They got a lot of guys that they can, rely on, and that's what the Suns are going to have to. The Suns are going to have to do. Because at this point, you got, the main pieces. Hell, you had the main pieces last year. So even though the trade was mid-season, you still had an expectation with these guys. So, like I said, I think this team can be very good for a long time. You got some hell of a lot younger guys. Got a hell of a lot younger with a Bradley Beal over Chris Paul. But now you need to, get the other pieces around them. Maybe in the future drafts they can actually get some guys around them. But at this point, this is going to be something this is another super team that we've seen. And they have to put it together. Because if not, it'd have been for nothing.
So, it'd be really interesting what's going to happen with Phoenix. The draft is this Thursday, and I was just I'm thinking damn, they don't have their first round pick that goes to Brooklyn. I just wonder if they could buy themselves in the second round. And this is a question I would ask somebody in the NBA front office or whatever. But you know how Chicago and Philly lost their second round picks because the tampering and stuff like that with Lonzo and PJ Tucker. I just had a thought. I had a thought like this. Okay, those teams lost their second round picks, whatever. If I'm a team out there like the Suns, for example, or your Magic, whatever, how can I not go to the league office and say, hey, I'll pay this money for the second round pick? I don't know how that worked, to the office, whatever, however they may work, but I'll pay y'all this money for the second round pick to get a player to my liking. Adam Carnick chiming in. I'm gonna be on this show tomorrow discussing how we're gonna fix the damn Bulls. So tune in 7:00 Central Time. Me, Adam Carnick, and let's see. I think I got that gentleman's name here. I got it here somewhere. And the Cognac boys. We're going to talk how we going to fix the Bulls. And like he mentioned, Bulls got 0 picks as well. So in Chicago, I know they lost their second round pick because of Lonzo, but can we buy a pick? Just things I'm thinking about, how can you get your team better? And I'm seeing this, okay, those teams lost their picks. Can we buy in the second round? Now, it's not a lot of money. Here's a check to the league office, whatever you gotta do. This is something food for thought that the league should look into. Hey, can we buy into the second round, stuff like that. But anyways, D-Lock, go to the other side of things, the Washington Wizards. We've been talking for a good couple years that they should be on a rebuild. They should be thinking about rebuilding, think about, starting over. The John Wall, Bradley Beal era, it was good at times. It really didn't hit the mark. They finally got the bill done. The bill done. Get my words right. The deal done with Bradley Beal. You know, they didn't train to the Heat, which I think they could have got a better offer. They got a better offer from them, in my eyes. But now they got Chris Paul in the fold, who maybe flipped somewhere else. The Clippers, presumably. You know, you get Landry Shamet, who's just like a stopgap. If we're being real. Where do you see the Wizards going from here? You know, like Mike Pat brought in the chat. There's a story out there that Porzingis may be shipped to Portland for like Anthony Simons and third pick. And a lot of teams are really, really trying to move up to get Scoot Henderson. What do you see the Wizards going from here to kind of get the rebuild process started?
I mean, I think that Porzingis is probably definitely going to be on the move. Also, they have a situation. Kyle Kuzma, I believe he's a free agent, correct?
Yes, he is.
Oh, he will be? Right. So they are now in that full rebuild. You know, they had different combinations of guys with, Russ being there, Kyle Kuzma being there, Porzingis being there. They had different options, and it just does not pan out. So at this point, I think getting a Chris Paul is not going to make it a hell of a lot better, especially if you lose a Kyle Kuzma and the Porzingis get shipped out. So I think that there's a good chance that we may see this team try to move up to number 3, or look at other options. I don't think Chris Paul is there. I think he does get bought out, and I think he goes somewhere else. So obviously looking at LA as an option, and that is the Clippers and the Lakers. But I think that the Wizards continue to, do this full rebuild, possibly moving, higher into the draft if they can. So at this point, it just seems as if at this moment, they are starting that rebuilding process. So I think, like I said, Portland is definitely looking to keep. Seems like Portland's trying to keep Dame. We'll talk about that, but possibly moving, Kristaps over there for that draft pick would be huge for them. So, I think, like I said, starting to rebuild, starting to get refreshed. I think that's what they will do. I think that they won't let Chris Paul get bought out. I think it'd be more so maybe possibly moving him to get something in return. So I think that's the way that Wizards need to go. And also, like I said, it seems that as if now the East has gotten a hell of a lot easier now to me. Kevin Durant is out of the East now, even though he was there for a short period of time. Bradley Beal is gone. Now you're looking at, I think, possibly hearing a lot about Zach LaVine possibly be on the move, even though I don't think Chicago would move him. But again, I didn't think Bradley Beal would be moved as well. So, it's a lot of things that's going to, transpire over this time. So I think that the Wizards are in that rebuild, and this is the perfect time to do it because the East is not, as deep as the West is at the moment.
The draft is going to be real interesting Thursday. I think it's going to be real interesting Thursday. I think Victor Wembanyama, I think he's probably at the least got he least has signed a lease at an apartment somewhere in San Antonio. I think that's pretty much set and done. They probably got boxes and stuff, and he and his family will be moving in here to Texas here very soon. And all that stuff. Just got to get work visas figured out and all that good stuff. But other than that, I think we all know that's set and done. The second pick, I know Brandon Miller seemed like a shoe-in for the Hornets. But there's stories out there that they're interested in moving. If the price is right, they're interested in moving the second overall pick. You know, we talk about Zion and stuff like that, and you know, they try trade him to Charlotte and all that stuff. I don't see that happen. But you know, you see about BI rumors, Brandon Ingram rumors, and stuff like that, and he could be had for at least second round pick, the second overall pick. You know, the Pelicans are really enamored with Scoot Henderson. So, you know, I'm seeing stuff by Woj saying like the Hornets are doing second round workouts and interviews with Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson on tomorrow. You know, so it's just
There's a lot of stuff going on, man, and this is the perfect time for it as well.
Yeah, the perfect time going for it. I think Charlotte should stay put and take Brandon Miller. Because, I mean, I'm not saying Ball and Scoot Henderson can't fit, but both of those guys need the ball in their hands. And you don't want, like, LaMelo Ball playing off guard, taking a lot of shots. That's not really his forte. But, you know, if that happens, you know, they do take Brandon Miller, then that number 3 spot is going to be prime right there. And, you know, we hearing the rumors about Miami, you know, yeah, they love to get Bradley. They did love to get Bradley Beal, but they prefer Damian Lillard. And Portland's in the same boat as Washington. If we're being real about that, okay, they kept Dame around for another year. Okay, Dame's didn't go as planned, and Lillard went out the rest of the season with an injury. You know, same boat as Washington. You know, you got two all-star players with high contracts, and your team is out of playoff picture. Where do you go from there? Me personally, I think Portland should be in the same boat and looking to rebuild as well. But, you know, like Mike Pat brought up in the chat, if they ain't going to move Lillard, and then if you still trying to contend, then okay, I guess you do the KP trade for the 3rd pick. And, you know, if you're Washington, yeah, you didn't get the assets like you should for Bradley Beal, but to turn around to get a Scoot Henderson at the 3 spot, get Anthony Simons, and probably somebody else to help fill out that salary right there. Okay, now we're kind of doing okay. Yeah, we're rebuilding, but okay, I'm looking at this roster pretty differently now. I got a young roster. You know, if Simons don't fit out, I can flip him somewhere else, you know, down the line. So if I'm Washington, if I get that 3rd overall pick and get that point guard slot solidified, then okay, things are looking up and up for me. You know, I got Daniel Gafford at center. I got Abaja at that 4 spot. Johnny Davis, Chris Kispert in the fold as well. Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons. You know, if I do keep Monte Morris, I got a good backup guard to help groomed a rookie. Shamet's not bad off the bench. I could really, really play my young guys there. So you're Washington, D-Lock, is like, I don't have a lot of salary. I can let these young guys grow. That's not a bad turnaround, if you really look at it. So if I'm Washington, I'm getting Kristaps Porzingis $36 million off my books. If I can get one of the best players in this draft, Scoot Henderson, or hell, even Brandon Miller, if he falls to the 3 spot, then I come out smelling good. And this is a Washington team, as we talked in the past, that they're always kind of in the middle there. They get to the draft lottery. They always pick. They pick in the lottery, but it's like in the later part of the lottery. So you're not really gathering one of the top tier talents of the draft. And I'm not saying you can't get a franchise player in the lottery in that later stage, but look all the years they've been in the lottery and they missed out on some folks. Now you're in position to get one of those top folks and start from fresh.
I mean, that's what they need. I mean, they've tried these different combinations of guys, and it just has not worked. I think they were in a play-in 1 year, and that was it. So they haven't done anything with the pieces that they have. And like I said, now, you have a chance where, hell, okay, it's hard to give up a Bradley Beal who we've seen put up 50 a night at one point, putting up 50 or 40. We've seen them have them out in historic games, and they will still lose. So at this point, you got to put yourself in a situation where it's better for the team. Now moving up to that 3 spot, that 2 spot would be great for them because now you get a chance to rebuild from scratch. So for me, I think that they need to. That's something that they really need to consider. To be honest with you, I think that that's going to happen now that you've gotten off a Bradley Beal. That probably was the hardest person. This probably was the hardest trade they ever had to make. This is probably one of those decisions that they, crying person seeing or agreeing to move somebody like a Bradley Beal. So remember, we asked, I think it was earlier this year, like, what is it about Washington that Bradley Beal is just in love with? Like he just doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, now, that has happened. Now you have to move forward and now they can say, okay, now we actually can clean house with everybody else we got, because this is what the main player that can have you move forward, have a chance to get in the playoffs. You moved them, so now start from scratch, clean that roster up, and go from there. Now, like I said, I don't think Chris Paul would be a great asset to, raise up your younger stars. And we've seen what he did with SGA, but I just don't see Chris Paul being in that, in that situation. I honestly think this is probably a time where he does get moved. So again, this is the best chance to start over. And if you do that, going to get somebody like a Scoot Henderson, I think it plays or Brandon Miller, I think it plays a big part.
Yeah, I think, it all depends on what Portland wants to do. I think Porzingis gets moved regardless. If we look at our phone here and at 12 midnight, that Dames get traded to the Heat for like Lowry, Duncan Robinson, and a couple first round picks and maybe another player, a young player involved. But, but they don't move Lillard. They still think they can compete. And this is the thing you got to think about. You know, if you're in the position like the Suns, you got Devin Booker, one of the best players in the league. Kevin Durant, one of the best players in the league. So you're in the boat that you got to compete for the next couple of years. Washington, you know, kept Bradley Beal around. You know, he want to stay around. I understand he want to stay around for his money, but, you know, if you look at the roster, it ain't there to compete. So why not close the door on this section? If you look around, you're around the Eastern Conference, you know, Charlotte, Orlando, Detroit, Indiana, Toronto. You know, I think those, and you put Washington, they're all in the same boat. And if you can reset things and get like that, you might get ahead of those teams. Orlando probably got like a decent head start now with Paolo Banchero in the fold. You know, Indiana got Benedict Mathurin, who I think he's going to be a rising star here next upcoming year. So, reset things, trying to get better. You know, while I've been keeping up in the summer with these high schools and stuff like that, D-Lock, there's a lot of young kids coming down the pike here soon. You know, here, hell, here in the state of Alabama, just alone, there's at least like 4 or 5 kids, say by 2026, 2027, that we probably talking about as like NBA prospects. You got the Boozer twins, you know, Carlos Boozer's sons. They got his twin boys coming up. You know, kid here in North Alabama, named Caleb Holt, wing player, who be a sophomore next year, who's 6'6", and a lot of people are saying top 5 potential down the road. So if you want to just take your lumps down here, take your lumps here for the next couple of years and get some of these young kids down the line, I think it'd be worth it.
Very much. And I think that is what, you know, they're going to have to consider doing. The only thing with that is, you know, when it comes to, you know, coaching decisions, you know, who they bring in, who they want to keep, you know, you have to think, do they have that opportunity to be there for those opportunities? You know, can Wes Unseld, can he get the chance to actually, you know, be the coach in 2026 or 2025? And that's my only thing. I think, you know, there's a good chance he can be, but you know, that's the only thing that I think they can possibly run into. But resetting your roster now is where you have to start. I mean, you go get your Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller, and you show a sense of improvement, you can last, you know, 2 or 3 more years. And we're talking about the East. So, you know, like I said, the West is kind of like the SEC, college football, you know, in most sports, actually. But, you know, at this point, you know, you have to be competitive. And if you can give you a young team and be competitive, you know, now, you know, we talk about the Boozer twins and all these other guys, like, you have opportunity to coach them. But if you know, right now, you have to start over. And if you can do that and have some like, okay, well, hey, we're starting here, then I think that does, you know, that does help.
Mike Pat's asking, in the chat, kind of like I brought up about the KP scenario. Oh, and when I'm looking at that, what Mike said, realistically, let's say the Wizards also trade KP, pick number 8, to Portland for Simon's 3 and some 4 big. Then the Wizards take Scoot, waive CP3. I think they try to trade CP3 to get some asset back.
That's what I think.
To let him go where he wants. How many games does a core of Scoot, Shamet, Kispert, Simons, Abaja, and Gafford win? Can't be more than 25 games. Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. I'll let you chime in. I don't think it's about the win total. As long as you seeing growth out of Scoot and Kispert and Abaja, the guys that you drafted into the program. I mean, Simons, yeah, if you see great things for him ahead, that's gravy on top. But I think those 3 guys right there, guys that you drafted into your team and had in your building for a while and stuff like that, that's what you got to see there. I mean, Simons, yeah, I mean, he's still young. Let's be real about that. If he did 4 years of college, he'd be at least second year in. But Simons can come in and be that dude like he's been showing here. That's gravy on top. But if you, I think the main thing is showing growth in Kispert, Abaja, and Scoot. And like I said, you got to take your lumps.
Yeah, this is the time that you do that. If you, like I said, you take this time where you see that growth, then now, you see a Wizards team that could be on the up and up.
So I think, 25 is a good benchmark, but, that 24 draft, DJ Wagner, God, what's that kid that came into USA? Not Bronny, but
No, you talk about. I can't think of his name.
Not Bronny. Let me pull the kid's name up. There's Cody Williams, who'll be a freshman at Colorado. That's another wing player, but I think, and he's the younger brother of Jalen Williams, who plays with OKC. You got him in next year's draft class. Ron Holland, going to Texas, freshman, 6'7" forward. There's a guy, Mattis Bazelis, 7-foot kid, 190, chose to go over to the G League over, the powerhouse college basketball schools. He's another name you consider right there. You got to look out for next year's draft. Tyrese Proctor come back for a second year at Duke. Isaiah Collier, that's his name. He's the name to look out for. Granted, him and Scoot play the same position, but hell, if he's like the best player, regardless, you gotta take him.
You gotta take, yeah.
Other names: Trevon Brazile, Justin Edwards going to Kentucky, Trevon Brazile going to Arkansas. I mean, who's be at Arkansas for another year. Kyle Filipowski, another name to kind of look out for next year. So, some quality names next year. But
yeah.
I think, depending on how the Wizards want to play this, take your lumps now, get somebody good next year, and then really see how go about things. Because you got to think about this. With the new CBA and stuff like that, so many teams ain't going to be construction teams like they used to. And If you also look around the league, look at the Bucks, for example. Middleton, he's been having little knee issues here for the past couple of years. How long is he going to hold up? Brook Lopez is a free agent. There's questions there. Granted, you got Giannis. I think you always be in title contention, but as we kind of seen with this team, Middleton has played a big role for them in their success, along with Drew Holiday as well. Bulls, for example. What the hell are they gonna do? They in that boat as well. Vooch's a free agent, and I saw something on Bleacher Report saying which thing each team should do. And the person in the article saying, and for the Bulls part, I'll dive in more to this on Monday's show with Adam Karnick. But one of the things they said, like, resign Vucevic. I said, for what? And I was sitting reading like, well, yeah, if you keep the Rose, and no. You gotta let him walk. If you're going to rebuild, let him walk. You're going to rebuild, let him walk. DeRozan, he got one year left on his deal. I think you can get some trade. And mention about Bulls having no draft picks on Thursday. You can trade DeRozan and get some picks somewhere. I think the bigger question, can you move Levine for something? That's probably a little said and done. But, as I said, we'll talk more about the Bulls tomorrow on Adam's show. But Lonzo, his status is up in the air. Kobe White, Ayo Damasio, both free agents. There's a lot of questions from the Bulls there. Detroit, rebuild. Cleveland, I think, they're playoff contenders. We'll see what happens with them. The Celtics, what's going to happen with Jaylen Brown?
Yeah,
He's been on the he's been on the trade block for the past couple of years. It sounds like if the Celtics are linked to somebody, he's in the mix in the trade. Hell, even this summer, he's a free agent. Does he stay in Boston? There's a chance he get the big match for Boston, but is he going to stick around there? The Knicks, I think, playoff contenders. I think they could do a little bit of work to be better, but they are playoff contenders. The Nets, I think the Nets are bound to go to the opposite direction. I think your Orlando Magic, if things go right, I think they should take a little leap. In my eyes, they should be at least no worse than like playing in contention. The Hornets, I think they're in rebuild mode. So if I'm looking around for the Wizards, like, let's kind of reset things. Let's get out of the red a little bit, and let's go about that way. It's if things on the upswing and we can make a big move for somebody, hey, we'll do it. But right now, let's kind of refocus things and reshape this roster and go about that way.
Yeah. Like I said, I think that right now, when you make a big move like this, the Wizards have to figure out what's next. But making a huge move like this, knowing, we've been talking about moving Bradley Beal for the longest. And now that this is official, now we can actually see. I feel like it's like a lot of weight lifted off their shoulders now. I think that we might see the Wizards might just start doing all kind of crazy shit now. At this point, moving to Bradley Beal, was a big piece to their organization. So we might see them start completely over. And for me, I think this is the best time to do it. But giving them that opportunity, like I said, you're looking at a couple teams in the East that are not looking too stable. You got the few obvious teams. The West is where everything is. So this is your chance to rebuild, draft well, and get you a couple of young guys there and start something. If you get you maybe two solid players out of that first 10 like 15 to 20 picks, you might have something. So I think that's the way the Wizards need to try to move.
So I think Washington come Thursday will be a team we'll keep an eye on. Portland as well. Let's talk about the two teams that just played in the NBA Finals. I know it sucks that we didn't get to talk about these two teams and all these other moves and stuff that's happened just right after the finals. But let's start off with the champs, the Denver Nuggets. First title in NBA history. Nikola Jokic, Finals MVP. Jamal Murray, about like a year and a half or so after his torn ACL in the bubble, has come back and shown why he's one of the top guards in the league. Aaron Gordon has finally kind of found himself in this league. Finally, found his style and stuff like that with this team. KCP showing why, he was a valuable asset to the Lakers title win a couple years ago. Porter Jr. When the time came right, he showed up to help Denver win Game 5. In your eyes, as this roster is constructed, can they make themselves better to kind of stay ahead of everybody? Having Jokic and Murray helps. But we also talked about, I think last week's show or week before, that could you sell high on Michael Porter Jr.? I know Mike Malone, I think in a drunken state saying, yeah, Bruce ain't going nowhere, blah, 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 blah. But Bruce Brown got a player option. Bruce Brown really kind of showed this season that he's not just a defender. He could be a good two-way player for somebody. Bruce Brown is on the docket for $6 million next year. And if you were his agent, I think I texted you or something like that. Like, if you were his agent, hey, babe, I know they want you back, but there's money to be had elsewhere. So how do you see Denver go about keeping ahead of everybody to possibly repeat next season?
Well, I think one thing they're going to have to do is the guy that they have try to keep that group together. Because I think the biggest thing with this team that I really like is they have the bench. And when you have the bench, you can in somewhat give Jokic that break that he needs. Not depend on so much. So I think that is a huge, huge thing for them to keep the guys that they have. But losing a Michael Porter possibly that could really hurt them. But drafting and being the fact that you already have a key piece in the Jokic, I think that the Denver Nuggets are another team that a bunch of vets are not going to mind going to because they know what they have in Jamal Murray and Jokic. So for me, I think that the best bet for Denver is to keep their pieces together. But if they can't, they're still going to be one of the better teams as long as they keep a Jokic and a Jamal Murray. They probably, like I said, Bruce Brown, honestly, probably may go somewhere, go get that big money, which would make all the sense in the world to do. You lose somebody like that, I think they're still so deep, they're still fine in a sense. So for me, I think that they're gonna be okay. But I think getting you maybe another star player wouldn't be bad. But I think getting another star player, you have to give up probably entirely too much for that. So I think that this Denver team needs to keep the group that they do have, if they say run that same team back and see what they can do with that. But you may lose a possible, Bruce Brown. So losing that, I think that plays a huge part. But also, I think you keep Eric Gordon, you keep your regular guys. Maybe not moving a Michael Porter, but you could move him, get you some more, other players around Jokic and Jamal Murray, just because he's so young. I mean, I think we talked about it last week. He's only 24, so him in that contract, you possibly go ahead and ship him somewhere, get some more assets. But I think right now this team is somewhat pretty set. I mean, teams are gonna try to game plan with them. Obviously now they're gonna be circling on the schedule, but to be honest with you, we've seen even the Lakers, Minnesota, who had a pretty decent roster. Miami, you can't do anything with Jokic, and if you can't, slow him down, I think there's going to be problems for anybody. The biggest thing is too, I think these teams got to get used to playing in Denver. That damn altitude should not be an excuse for a lot of teams to go there and lose and it be that tough. At this point, you've been playing the league so long, you have to make these adjustments going to Denver and all these other places that might be altitude level. So for me, I think that Denver should, in their best situation, keeping that roster put together, I think they should do that. Maybe adding, I think they're going to lose to Reggie Jackson, who didn't play that much. Maybe adding another big. Thomas Brown didn't do anything but have his pom-poms out. And maybe, I think that's about it. They could add another big, a little bit less pressure on somebody like Eric Gordon. So I think that's their best bet. I think they'll be fine, with that starting five that they have.
I mentioned about Mike Malone, who still had LeBron on his brain in his parade, at that parade this past Thursday. I said, dude, I guess. He probably mad at us because we didn't talk about the Denver Nuggets winning the championship off the bat on our show. So there's that. But some of y'all probably listen to it saying, like, well, why are you so high on Michael Porter Jr. and stuff like that? Well, if you look at this playoff run, and I mentioned about Michael Porter in the past, it's like, I think they kind of jumped the gun, giving him a big extension, like the way they did. Only because he really had been really fully healthy. And then now you get to this playoff run. Now, I listened to Balmain Jones' show the other day, and he made a good point. Like, what has Michael Porter really done except getting, keeping his line fresh? In this whole playoff run. And thank goodness they had Bruce Brown, because he really kind of picked up that slack. Him and Pope, they kind of picked up that slack for Denver. And I'm looking at it like basketball reasons. Like, yeah, Porter may have the bigger potential to be something, but how long can you depend on potential? And I just think Bruce Brown kind of flushes out this roster better, and I think they should do all they can to keep him. And if I was his agent, I'd be trying to cash out this summer. So I think it'd be silly for him if Bruce Brown decides to keep his option and stay for another year for $6 million. But hell, if I was him, I'll tell him, hey, I'll tell the Cronkies who got a lot of money, I'll stay, but y'all got to pay me something under the table.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the impact that he's making, you got to definitely give him his money.
I know
definitely got to give him his paper.
I know the Cronkies alone got their own money, but, the Cronkies also got that Walmart money as well. So, being married to that family, so I mean, dog, you can throw me something else in the fold. A Walmart discount card, something. But just trying to look at the numbers real quick. Let's see. I'm trying to look at salary cap. Who got salary cap space? Right now, Houston's at the top. Right now, with $47 million. You got the Thunder at 28. Pacers.
Oh, well, we know where James Harden going.
Possibly. We'll see. Pistons, Spurs. And everybody else is in the negative right now. But I think a lot of teams probably make some moves to get under the cap. But, just kind of seeing those early salary cap numbers, there's not right now, not a lot of options for Bruce Brown. And staying in Denver ain't the worst decision, but if you get a chance to get paid somewhere, man, you got to take the opportunity. But like you mentioned, I think, a backup big should be in a priority for behind Jokic. Backup point guard should also be in the mix for Jamal Murray. And then I think also keeping like Bruce Brown in the fold as well. I think those three things there, I think Bruce Brown the top priority. Backup big and guard, and I think they'd be straight. If you can do those three things for Denver, you're straight. In my eyes. And just kind of hope, just health and happiness, and pray that other teams in the West don't get better ahead of you and all that stuff. What you think about that?
Oh, yeah. So I think that, like I said, the Nuggets, they're going to have to, with the unit that they have, I mean, we literally sat and watched, for those that watched the NBA Finals, the Heat couldn't do anything against the Nuggets. First, they said, okay, well, Jokic, you're not going to have a high amount of scoring points. You're going to get assists and rebounds. They win those games. Then they say, okay, well, Jokic, we're going to make you score the damn points. That worked for one game. So this team is put together perfect. I mean, I know when I play NBA a lot of times, I would draft somebody like a Shaq. And what I would do with Shaq, I would get Shaq, I would get all these other players, shooters, defenders, but more so a lot of shooters, assist guys, ball handlers around Shaq. Because I know that Shaq grab board, Shaq can get put back, Shaq can play defense. He could damn near do anything. That's Jokic times 2, times 10, whatever. Because Jokic literally can jack up threes if he want to. I mean, we've seen him make incredible shots the whole playoffs. So when you have a guy like that, you put pieces around him and make it harder for other teams. That's why they got these 3-point guys in the Michael Porter and the KCP, that can make these shots at any point. That's why you got a guy like Eric Gordon who plays good defense, who can move down to the 5. So for me, I think that what the Nuggets need to do, yes, this is a hell of a unit that you have. Keep this unit together. To your point about Bruce Brown, hell, I would love to stay, but you got to pay me. Okay, fine. Give the man his money. Because I think if you bring this unit together again, they're one of the better teams in the West. And they have been over, for the years that they've had their unit. Let's not forget, they were looking like one of the better teams a couple of years ago until Jamal Murray tears his ACL. So now that you got these guys fully healthy, Mike Malone, who had a hell of a time at the parade, as we can see. If he can keep this squad together, I think that this team is going to be one to deal with. But the West is loaded, and you're going to need that because the Warriors are going to be a team to reckon with. The Lakers seem like they're going to be pretty decent. Memphis, we'll talk about, maybe this show or the next show, they're still going to be a team to deal with. So for me, I think that their best bet is to keep this unit together. Maybe add another shooter. I think they're fine on defense, to be honest with you, man. If you can get more consistency from Michael Porter, then this team might be unstoppable. But that's the only wild card that I would have is Michael Porter. I definitely would, before the trade or during the trade, hey, listen to some offers and see what you can get. Because if you get something you can't turn down from him, you might have to run that trade. Because right now, like I said, your base pieces is a Jamal Murray and a Jokic. If you can build around those guys, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think you do that. I think you're just fine as well. As long as you got Jokic and Murray, I think you're solid. And as long as you get their pieces to come in and contribute, like Draft Green, give you solid minutes at his age. You find like guys like that, I think it'll go a long way of things. I think they got some other guys on two-way contracts that possibly due to be contributors here soon. So things are up and up for Denver. I got no real cause of concern there. As long as everybody stays healthy, do their thing and stuff like that, I think Denver should be fine. It should be, if you look at the Vegas money line, I think should be, one of the top folks, to win the title again next year. Real quick, D-Law, before we get out of here, the Heat side of things. We touched on them a little bit. They coming from the play-in game to the NBA Finals. There are moments in the playoffs that look pretty damn good. But other times, the wheels about to fall off, but they kind of slam the wheels back on. There's a lot of buzz about them here the past few days. They didn't get Bradley Beal, but they prefer Damian Lillard. Tyler Hill's on the trade block. Regardless if they got Beal or Damian Lillard, whatever. Where do you see the Heat going from here after this finals loss?
Well, I think one thing that they definitely do is they're going to need depth. You talk about a team, their weakness was Denver's strength. They didn't have any depth. Oladipo hurt, Tyler Hero, who's available, who didn't play. So for me, I think that they're going to need to get some pieces. I mean, again, they talked about the Dame thing. I mean, it could happen, but am I expecting it to? Not really. I mean, I'm just expecting maybe to have talks and then, hey, we decided to go a different route or keep Dame. Maybe Portland sees a better trade from somewhere else. But for me, I think that, Jimmy Butler was, we talk about how well Jimmy Butler played. There's still that picture of Dame, after that he was in a bubble and he worked so damn hard. So they have relied on Jimmy Butler to do so much. But at this point, they're going to have to add some pieces around Jimmy Butler. And bam, I think that's going to play a huge part. So for me, I do see them going and move around and get some more pieces. Man, to be honest with you, man, Chris Paul wouldn't be bad in Miami.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad, piece if you think about it. So you got a couple guys out there, Kyrie, a couple other players, but I think they make a splash with somebody. They're gonna grab somebody. They're gonna need to grab somebody to help out, that roster that they have, so they can get back. If they can keep their squad together, I think Tyler Hero, like I said, Tyler Hero is on the trade block. I doubt that they trade him unless it's something that they really want. But to me, I think that this team, if they can grab maybe one more superstar or another name, they'll be back. Definitely. I think they're still one of the contending teams in the East. That was a hell of a season for them. To go from losing that first play-in game to going all the way to the damn NBA Finals. So to be honest with you, outside of Denver, they probably had the most impressive playoff run out of all teams.
I think real quick for me, for this Heat team, where can you get better at? And that's the main question. Sometimes, you kind of wish Bam Bio was a little bit taller. Because I think that played a factor in things in the NBA Finals, guarding Jokic. And so many times, you got this, if you get if they got Bam switched up on top on the screens and stuff like that, and left a big gaping hole in the middle in which you either had Jimmy Butler or Kelly Martin or Kevin Love down there, and Denver's size and got Porter Jr. cutting down low, or Garrett Gordon mainly just dominating down low like that. So I think they need some size, skill size down there to kind of counteract those type of lineups. So you could maybe slide down Bam down to the 4 and have number 5 there that, to help control the paint. So that's one thing I think they could look at. Do they make the move for Damian Lillard? If they like the guy, go for it. Don't pussyfoot around, whatever, and get the deal done. I know Duncan Robinson played well for y'all in the playoffs, especially in the last 2 rounds, but we discussed on the show before that you pay him a whole bunch of money and he got a whole bunch of DNPs this past season. So, yeah, he playing good where you needed him to, but the way y'all kind of have found guys like him, Gabe Vincent or others, and some of these guys that come into the league now, you can find another Duncan Robinson. Let's be real about that. I think you can find another Duncan Robinson. And plus, you got pick 18 in the draft. When I was doing my mock draft, there's a whole bunch of guards that I could have slid there, just in case you lose Gabe Vincent, but I went with Chris Murray. So I'm just saying, like, you can get like a young guy and groom him, and he could easily be replaced. So if you want Dan, get the deal done. If not, I don't know, D-Lock. It's like this, but this team they can't go next year the same. So I mean, yeah, you could bring back Gabe Vincent and all those type of guys, Struce and stuff like that, but you kind of need to get the finals kind of showed, and even the Eastern Conference Finals even showed that the Heat need a little bit more to kind of stay up top if they want to be on top.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that um, one thing that did help them out is I think that if you have a healthy Giannis, maybe this conversation is a little different. But they're gonna have to be uh, more physical. They need that big to make that big difference. Duncan Robinson getting paid way too goddamn much to only show up during the playoffs
Yeah.
for 4 or 5 games. So for me, they're gonna need more. Um, I don't, I don't want Victor Oladipo's career to be over, but it just seems like this dude just cannot stay healthy. Like he just cannot stay healthy at all. So for me, I think that they need to get some more depth. Um, to Jimmy Butler, we've seen multiple times Jimmy Butler have these games, and then when he don't have these games, it's like people are criticizing him. It's like hell, the man he can only do so much for so long. He needs some help, and that's with any player. So for me, I think that they're gonna have to make some moves. I don't look at this Heat team as a team that would bring in a veteran. Not sorry, not a veteran, a rookie. I think they're going to be a team that brings in a veteran to this squad. They're kind of good with rookies right now. So in my mind, I think they're going to probably look to add uh, one more vet, and if they can do that, I think that'll definitely help. This is another team that can bring us some guys, uh, especially now that Udonis Haslem is officially retired. So, but they, like I said, on a serious note, they could bring in some guys that can help them out. Help out of Jimmy Butler and the Bam. Like you said, possibly moving Bam to the four, put him in that power forward position. I think that'll definitely do a lot of work.
So we'll wrap it up there. Um, we're wrapped up there, and we'll just see how Thursday's gonna go. See how I think we'll probably cook up something for Thursday. With the NBA draft, I gotta make sure my skills are straight and all that stuff. I mean, we might not be exactly live when the draft starts, but we'll try and work out something, to get something up on, for the channel, all that stuff, and all that jazz. Because I think a lot of movement's gonna be happening this Thursday's draft. So, and we don't want to miss it and come up next Sunday talk about everything. We kind of be in the mix now and then save whatever leftover thoughts we have for the Sunday next Sunday show for free agency preview, all that good stuff. But having said all that, thank you for tuning in tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to talk about to get into tonight. I thank y'all for tuning in, late with us. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
Oh, you guys can find me at Black-813. Pretty sure you guys see me tweeting some crazy shit today after seeing the damn trade because it's just like they keep giving this man Kevin Durant all kind of help. I wish I was getting this kind of help when I was taking exams in college. This dude keep getting super team after super team after super team. But let them know they can find the show's page, man.
Find the show's page on Twitter at Fast Break at IESR. That is Fast Break IESR. Talk about the Bradley Beal trade. Talk about the NBA draft. Free agency right around the corner. So a lot of things on the docket to be discussed. So do tune into our page and all that stuff to kind of get the latest news in the basketball world. Like I stated earlier, tomorrow I'll be on Adam Karnick's show discussing how to fix the Chicago Bulls. So we'll discuss that, how we can fix the Bulls, what they should do, what they should not do, all that good jazz. That's tomorrow, 7 Central. So do tune in for that. Do follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. I do another show on the side called The Crooks Process. You can find the show on Spotify. You also follow the show's page on Instagram and Facebook. The Crooks Process. You see the CP logo in the biopic. And do check out iSportsRadio.com for your latest shows, news, and feed, and blogs as well. A lot of new shows in the network. A lot of new faces here. So do give everybody a look and a shout out on the network as well. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to y'all later on this week with the NBA draft. And next Sunday's show, talk about the draft and free agency coming up. Until then, talk to y'all later. Peace.